Well, hello everybody, Roger here, and welcome to my channel, Roger's Reads. So today I'm doing part 3 of my bookshelf tour. So today I'm going to do, I plan on doing 2 bookshelves, and I'm going to do the 2 bottom bookshelves, which are my classic shelves, along with quite a few miscellaneous books thrown in. So, onward and upward. So the first book we have is Wonderstruck by Brian Zelznick. This is a very neat book in which the story is told in words and numerous illustrations. And we move on to the classics, and here we have Bullfinch's Mythology. Hyttinen, I'm not sure how that's pronounced, translated by Thomas Kinsella. Singing the Soul Back Home by Caitlin Matthews. Reflections on the Art of Living by Joseph Campbell. The Golden Bough by Sir James George Fraser. Another book by Joseph Campbell, The Hero with a Thousand Faces, a classic. And here we have Celtic Lore by Ward Rutherford, and this is a history of the Celts and the ancient Druids. And here we have The Mabinogi and Other Medieval Welsh Tales, and this is translated by Patrick K. Ford. Richard Dawkins, The Magic of Reality. Lies My Teacher Told Me by James W. Lowen. The End of Faith by Sam Harris. The Mysteries of Pittsburgh by Michael Chabon. Catcher in the Rye by J.D. Salinger. And I just did a review of this book not too long on this channel. One of my favorite classics. A Separate Peace by John Knowles. Now, I read this when I was really young, and I remember I really liked it. It made quite an impact on me. And I just came across this a few weeks ago at a thrift shop. So, so I picked it up, and I'm looking forward to rereading it. So here we have The Arabian Nights, translated by Sir Richard Burton. And here we have The Lord of the Flies by William Golding. And this is a mass market paperback with teeny weeny print that I am never going to read in a million years. So yeah, sure, I probably should pass this on. I'm not sure if I'm going to replace it though. You know, I tried rereading this a while back and I ended up DNFing it. I just couldn't get into it. This is The Myths and Legends of the Middle Ages by H.A. Gerber. Catch-22 by Joseph Heller. Oh, I forgot about this book. You know, I wouldn't mind rereading this one again. And here we have Classical Mythology, Images and Insights by Stephen L. Harris and Gloria Platzer. And a really old version of The Portable Mark Twain by Mark Twain. So this is a book that I'm not sure how it ended up on my classical shelf. Lord of the Dead by Tom Holland. I think this is a vampire book. And another vampire book on the same shelf, A Matter of Taste by Fred Saberhagen. Ernest Hemingway, The Garden of Eden. The Wolf of Thunder Mountain by Dion Henderson. Again, not sure how this book ended up here. And here we have Kim by Rudyard Kipling. My 1896 version of Cyrano de Bergerac by Edmond Rostand. And my original version of Tarzan the Untamed by Edgar Rice Burroughs. And here we have a few books from my childhood. Bewitched, The Opposite Uncle by William Johnson. The Wonderful Wizard of Oz by L. Frank Baum. So these books were given to me as a gift when I was very young, probably 6, 7 years old, so they're kind of old. Same goes for this book, The Adventures of Tom Sawyer by Mark Twain. And this one as well, The Merry Adventures of Robin Hood by Howard Pyle. So here we have the stories of F. Scott Fitzgerald, and now we're on the bottom shelf. Complete Shakespeare, and it's illustrated. Here we have A History of Pagan Europe by Prudence Jones and Nigel Pennick. And here we have Walden by Henry David Thoreau, and this is one of my favorite books of all time. The Great Gatsby by F. Scott Fitzgerald. Masterpieces of Murder by Agatha Christie, and there are four of her stories in this one, and then there were none, Death of the Nile, and I can't remember the other 2. The Complete Short Stories of Ernest Hemingway. And The Odyssey of Homer, translated by Richmond Lattimore. And here we have a couple of do-it-yourself nonfiction books, the first being Building the Greenland Kayak, Building Skin-on-Frame Boats for those cold, snowy winters when there's nothing else to do but build a boat. Astronomy for Dummies by Stephen P. Moran, PhD. Travels with My Aunt by Graham Greene. I remember this was a fun book. We already saw the portable Mark Twain, but we also have the portable Thoreau, edited by Carl Bode. The Good Earth by Pearl S. Buck. The Journals of Kurt Cobain, and this I picked up from a thrift store a couple years back. And here we have a novel entitled Publish and Perish by James Hines. 3 Tales of Tenure and Terror. A Parisian from Kansas. And you know, I bought this book many years ago and I don't think I've ever read it. I think I need to move this up on my TBR list. This book is entitled The Ultimate Dracula, and it appears to be missing a dust jacket. Where the Boys Are by William J. Mann. Parallel Myths by J.E. Berlin. And now we have a couple more Sherman Alexie books. The first being The Lone Ranger and Tonto, Fist Fight in Heaven. And I think this was the first Sherman Alexie book that I ever bought. And the next, Reservation Blues, Sherman Alexie. Here we have a novel entitled A Spot of Bother by Mark Haddon. Stephen King, A Bag of Bones, a scary, scary ghost story, boys and girls. Okay, so the next 3 are graphic novels by Greg Fox, and he created this series called Kyle's Bed and Breakfast, which features a man named Kyle who runs a gay bed and breakfast and all the drama that ensues. So this is the first one in the series, Kyle's Bed and Breakfast. The second one is Kyle's Bed and Breakfast, a second bowl of cereal. And the third one is Kyle's Bed and Breakfast, hot off the griddle. Here we have another Stephen King book, Revival, and I haven't read this one yet. I just picked it up at a thrift store a few weeks ago. Well, actually, it's been more like a few months ago now, I think. Richard Bach, Jonathan Livingston Seagull, another book missing its dust jacket. And when is he going to finish, you might be asking? Well, the answer is now, as this is the last book on the bottom shelf, and it's entitled, it's by Herman Melville, The Complete Shorter Fiction. So that was part 3 of my bookshelf tour. Stay tuned in the coming days for part 4. So as always, I thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate all of your support, and I'll talk to you in the next video. Roger and out.